Yes! Sports Limelight, episode 36. Sitting across from me, as always, 1066 Football's highest-rated player of 2008, a man with 55 career touchdown passes to just 13 interceptions, and in just 29 games, 19 career defensive interceptions. Hello, Drew.
Oh, Bill, you're too kind. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Great. It's great to be back here in the studio with you.
It really is. Yes, and with that great quarterback-defensive back combo, you really were the Sammy Baugh of 1066 Football.
Ah, well, thank you. I don't mean to brag, but hey.
We started off the show there with New Rush, The Anarchist, that track was. Track number 4 on Clockwork Angels, just released yesterday. Nice.
Sounded like an old 90s grunge song.
It did. It's one of the harder songs on the album. I love it so far. I was talking, I got an email from my friend Tim, and he really said it well, that this album just stuck with him right away. Whereas, you know, all the Rush albums are great, but Vapor Trails and Snakes and Arrows kind of had to grow on him for a while. But this one just, it's right there. And I didn't hear it until, I think the 4th time I listened to this album on my drive-in today is when it really hit me that, wow, this is something special.
Yeah.
And it's going to be for a long time.
Nice. Yeah. It's good to listen to a full album in your car. I think that's kind of like the greatest venue to listen to a song or an album.
I agree. This is probably going to sound bad as far as, you know, driving and distractions goes, but driving is the time when I can most concentrate on the music and just hear every nuance.
Exactly. Yeah. You are surrounded by the speakers, so that's how I fully encompass my albums.
Yep, and especially for me in the great Honda Civic.
Yeah, nice.
Doesn't get any better than that. Rush in a Civic. We'll take you out with a little Rush as well. Another track, one of my favorites from Clockwork Angels. And we're also going to talk about a few tidbits of minicamp news from the Giants. Tom Coughlin's contract extension, Jake Ballard to the Patriots. But first, obligatory NBA talk. And joining us now, our guest. Hello, Chris.
How's it going, guys? Glad to be back.
Yes, Chris. Good to have you again.
Now, I've said it before. I'm not going to be a fanboy for this league, but I realize that there's some demand, so we're going to talk NBA. You each have 15 seconds. Go. Starting with you, Drew.
Okay, well, the Thunder came out and won Game 1 against the Heat. The Heat were up at halftime by a lot, and the Thunder came back, so it's quite exciting.
And there's your 15. My turn. Go. OKC in 4. I hate the Heat. I'm going to stand by that. I want to see LeBron James lose from now until the rest of eternity. Even if Steve Nash joins the team next year, I'm going to root for Steve Nash, not the Heat. Go Thunder.
Nice.
I think that was 15.
Yeah, it should be a good series. To be honest, I thought the Heat would come out and tell the Thunder what's up, But the Thunder are young and they're driven, ready to win a title.
And way more excited, and they seem to be a little bit more together with Wade and Bosch still obviously suffering some sort of injury. It should be fun to watch.
Yeah.
For the next 3 games.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bill, for that minute.
I must vehemently disagree with you on your basketball opinions. This game will go a lot more than 4 games because David Stern will see to it that the NBA can put out more product on television.
I think that's fair.
Man, that guy's an anarchist.
And it's his rules. He's rebelling against himself.
Well, I wish them well.
But David Stern ill.
Next topic now, Drew, you read a pretty interesting article in USA Today.
Yeah, in the sports section here, it looks like the NBA and MLB officials are under fire because they have been called out publicly now for dropped calls or bad calls. For example, the Phillies closer Jonathan Papelbon spent last Monday night deriding home plate umpire DJ Rayburn, saying he belongs back in Class AAA.
Oh, man.
And Caroline Wozniak, who is a female tennis star, called the officiating a disgrace after being knocked out of the French Open.
Well, to add on to that, the Manny Pacquiao fight that just happened, everybody was up in arms about the decision on that, too.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how athletes today, with the modern age of technology, how they are seeming to oust referees, by name and using that as a way to get back at them.
Yeah, I would love to see more technology. These referees, officials, they're only human, and mistakes will be made. So there's no shame in expanding the role of computers to a reasonable extent. Baseball needs to be sped up, so the counter argument would be, oh, you're going to make it even longer. But the main way to speed it up is in between pitches, all the time they take then. You could implement replay, and it would take maybe 10 minutes more a game, let's say. Mm-hmm. But that's worth it to make sure you get it right, and to not have this where officials are being called out and demeaned all the time.
Yeah.
Well, this question of referees and judges and so forth is really a question about the integrity of the game or the sport that you're involved in. But you're saying that yourself as a person who has no idea what that referee has to go through in order to earn the right to be in that position. They can find themselves out of position rather frequently to make a call that really should have gone the other way when they saw it from a slightly incorrect angle. But you have to give that referee that amount of leeway. But on top of that, one of the key aspects of any sport is overcoming any sort of opposition, including calls going against you. So if you're complaining about referees, you're really complaining about your inability to overcome all obstacles as an athlete.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, who's really calling themselves short here? The fans do it quite frequently, but the athletes are doing it to themselves as well.
Well, I think the fans have to boo when there's bad calls, because that's what fans do. They're rooting for their team, so they're going to be negative.
Well, from the fans, it's expected. It's like the neutral party in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, and another thing you mentioned, Chris, about being out of position, just the NFL, looking at that, the speed of the game, you'll have a play 40 yards downfield, and the referee needs to be in place to see, if a guy got his feet in bounds. So clearly a difficult thing, and again, there's no shame in missing a call now and then, and it doesn't mean the referee is a horrible at his job or blind or whatever fan cliche you want to throw out there.
Right. If you just take the Papelbon instance, if that referee's head was cocked 1 degree more to the left, he might have made all the right calls. That's how small of a margin of an error we're talking about with referees and umpires and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. So that's what you get when you sign up for it.
I think balls and strikes will never be perfect, and we should just accept that. But for all other calls, you could probably use instant replay just fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Baseball would be entirely too slow with that. You have to accept that margin of error. Basketball seems to be integrating the replay rather well.
Yeah. Now, if I read correctly, is it true that replacement referees will be hired in the NFL?
Ooh.
If sides don't reach a labor agreement? Is this true?
I love replacement football, but replacement referee football might be just absolutely fantastic because nothing would be called. They wouldn't know the rules. Everything goes.
Right.
So whatever offensive line is the best at holding will be very valuable this year. All right, now moving to a couple of quick hits with the Giants. First up, Tom Coughlin's contract extension through 2014, $20 million over the next 3 years.
Way to go, Gramps. Yeah.
I think 2 Super Bowl championships deserves its just reward.
Yes.
$20 million over 3 years, he actually earned it. Good for him. And that's coming from a Redskin fan who really doesn't care for the Giants.
That's right. Duly noted, sir. I love it. There's no salary cap for coaches, so why not? He's established himself as one of the top coaches in the league, so it's great to see him rewarded that way.
So hopefully this doesn't make Usi Umenyiora upset that he's making less than the coach, even though he's won 2 Super Bowls too.
That's right. Just got a small bump in salary, OC did, but yeah, I think Coughlin's got him again now. And then the other piece of Giants news this week, Jake Ballard, surprisingly, the Patriots claimed him off of waivers. I liken this to the NFL equivalent of trolling, where the Patriots just, hey, we just took your injured guy. Are you mad? Either that or they're just trying to get a little piece of a winner.
You know what? If the Patriots have to do that, I mean, that just tells you that they're uncomfortable. They don't like the Giants that much. So.
The Giants took the high road, when Coughlin was asked about it, but there could definitely be some sour grapes going on there.
Man.
Ballard will not play in 2012. That's known that he's not going to be ready until 2013. So the Patriots are basically paying him $500,000 to rehab for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to take this back to, I think, the first time I was on when we were talking about the Redskins drafting RG3. My biggest complaint against that was how many picks they gave up, because you're supposed to be developing a pool of talent. And the Patriots have actually been quite spectacular at bringing in a lot of talent that seems to go unnoticed by other people. The fact that they brought this tight end in is really a fault of the Giants, and you can't blame the Patriots for capitalizing on what they always do.
It was something the Giants didn't expect for sure. Now, they had to waive him the way the rules work with roster spots. They waived him so they could then put him on the PUP list or, injured reserve. Otherwise, like, he takes up a roster spot, I think, until final cuts in training camp or however that works. But yeah, on the other hand, rosters are at 90 men at this point. Do you really need all 90 spots? Couldn't you just kind of keep Ballard on there a little while longer?
Right.
Yeah, because if he's that big of a deal, you hold the one spot for him.
See, maybe that's the thing. Maybe, I'd have a hard time believing that Jerry Reese was outsmarted in any way. So maybe they are not so broken up about what they're losing. And many tight ends could be thrown to by Eli Manning and have a successful season.
Well, we know the Pats need a tight end. Not because they just signed that Rob guy for like $50 billion.
Well, they also got rid of Ocho Cinco, so I'm cool with them bringing in an injured person in place of a retired person.
Oh, I heard that Tim Tebow was asked to gain weight. Is that right? He was supposed to put on pounds, and he did.
Huh.
I thought he looked a little fat to begin with.
Oh, that's what I didn't click on the article, but that's what the headline said. Said Tebow gains weight as a request of the Jets.
They're making him a fullback or something. There's no way he's throwing the ball for that team.
Wow, Tim Tebow, the fullback,
or the fat end.
Yeah.
And finally, Giants news. I did the Sports Limelight Extra on this earlier today. Chris, you had some mop-up on the David Deal DUI arrest.
Yeah, and this is going to come from a probably unique perspective most people would not agree with. But I'm actually morally opposed to DUI laws, if not, 90% of all traffic laws, because I don't remember when we started paying fees on the King's highways. Our tax dollars paid for these roads. They pay for the lawmakers to make the laws. They pay for the cops to pull us over. We're paying police to pull us over for laws that shouldn't exist in the first place. Now, the argument for DUI laws is traditionally, well, what if you're drunk and you hit a kid and kill him? Well, my rebuttal is, are you really arguing it's better if I hit and kill a kid when I'm sober? Again, it's a unique perspective, but he didn't harm anybody. If he actually killed someone, it's a completely different story. You're talking about manslaughter at best, murder at worst.
All right, now to take us out, we started with a Clockwork Angels track, and we'll send you out with one. This is track 8, called The Wreckers. Sports Limelight, episode 36. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.